Okay, welcome, Kyrie United. We are on video. How cool is that? We're on video this time, so we're bringing new technology. We are old school in a new world application right here. How cool is that?
Yeah.
And today we got me, Fred DiDomenico of Elite Coaching, Dr. Joe Ferrantelli, the master of Posture Co. and about 15 different applications of Posture Co. And our guest, friend, awesome doctor, now new news celebrity, Dr. Brian Paris.
Thank you.
Welcome, brother.
Thank you.
Hey, we're going to cover some stuff. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted, even before we start, it's such a cool opportunity to be able to chat with my boys and be able to share some great life experience and, get this all out there. So I'm very grateful, humbled to be on the phone and video with you guys. So thank you.
Hey, and you're pretty cute, so you look good on video. So I got to hand I'm going to give that to you. So, hey, we're going to I'm excited to have you for a number of reasons. Number one, we're all great friends and we hang out. We all have very similar core values, spinal correction, of course. And so we just want to, Brian, you have a medically integrated practice. There's a big movement towards that. One of the things we talked about, is how to maintain the principle of chiropractic, spinal correction, and be able to apply that in different business applications. But we never leave the principle, and that's one thing that I have a great amount of respect for you. So, but before we go into that, you have big visions. You're doing a lot of things. You've been in the media lately. You're really spreading the vision of chiropractic. But really, what we want to do is have people know who you are as a person, understand how you got to where you are, and what your vision is. So let's start with what was your life like, man? How'd you get into chiropractic?
Yeah, I got to take it back before I even got into chiropractic school because I have to look at ADD as a blessing for me. So two things. So a milk allergy and attention deficit hyperactivity I look at those as blessings because thankfully my mother said, dude, you're getting sick all the time and drinking milk is getting you sick. So I had to make nutritional changes and starting adding other things to my life very early on in my life. And additionally, just being a very hyperactive, mobile kid, I knew that, sports were my answer versus drugs. So I learned early on that the conventional thought patterns for treating different conditions were not right for me. And it started making sense at a very early age. Yeah.
Let me interrupt one sec.
Sure.
First, I want to say something. Number one, a foundation. I just came back from Genius Network, top entrepreneurs all around the world. Tons of speakers say, you know what? The best entrepreneurs, not only they think out of the box, but they're all ADD.
Yes, every one of us.
That's a characteristic of great business people and high volume practitioner. You want to be high volume? Be ADD. How's that?
Exactly.
Okay.
See, I look at it, but I mean, we could go on for hours about it, but it's really about now. There's so much crap coming at us all the time that it becomes you have to become a master of being able to focus because we have the capability in our brains. People just like to label it, just like everything else in the medical field. That you put that label on it and you become it. So I've learned just to get rid of distractions. And in business and in a multi-specialty practice, there's nothing but distractions from payroll issues, patient issues, staffing issues, you name it, it's out there. So, but I in New Jersey, there's a chiropractor, there's 4 chiropractors in every corner back in the 80s when I grew up. And now there's 12 chiropractors in every corner. And they all are multi-integrated, doing personal injury work, all that kind of stuff in Jersey. So, But I hurt my neck playing football, and that introduced me to chiropractic very, very quickly because I learned that I could get my body working right, body can heal itself, and it helped me with sports injuries. And I realized, my hyperactivity, all that kind of stuff. I just started falling into this role. Now, when you start studying all these, like you look at like the 10,000 hour rule and all that kind of stuff, I fit in that category because my oldest brother is a He's a surgeon. He doesn't do that as much anymore. My middle brother is a chiropractor. So I kind of had all of this stuff laid up. And fast forward my life through going into college, I studied kinesiology because I knew I wanted to be a chiropractor. So it was something that made a lot of sense to me. And thankfully, my brother introduced me to the guy who was selling Omni tables at that point. And my first day of chiropractic school, or a day before, I showed up to actually, my brother was a Pierce doctor, started learning about CBP and corrective chiropractic care versus just manipulation, which is what I only experienced. I grew up with an activator and diversified doctor, so that's what I thought chiropractic was before school. And then I learned about CBP, had a kinesiology background, biomechanics. So this stuff started making sense very, very early. And my college thesis was, what was it? Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what happened to get old.
Totally.
Yeah.
With attention deficit, right? So it was, something about cervicogenic headaches. And I actually demonstrated early forms of extension compression traction, seated two-way extension compression traction when I was a senior in college, and had some influence on future chiropractors as well. So the day before school, I show up to the CBP club meeting, and I had some family connections to Len Siskin. I was the Omni table rep, and I had a knack for sales and connection anyway. Joe Ferrantelli was there. Who else was there? Christian Carlson, Jason Haas.
Yep.
My God.
You're naming all our brothers.
Deidre, like everyone that Deidre and Charlie Francis, like everyone that was like, these are all my mentors. So I walked in and started training like a samurai from day one. So I only knew CBP as chiropractic really, and when that day started. That's what got me there. That's that spot.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So then obviously you came out of school, man. You had a natural entrepreneurial vein, of course. And, anybody that knows you, Brian, you're pretty motivated, man. And, you get a vision, you go after it. I mean, classic entrepreneurial spirit and visionary. It's not even that it's an entrepreneurial spirit. Qualities of entrepreneurs or anybody is they have a vision, and doing anything but that is not an option. And you definitely follow that, man. I mean, you follow that with your body, with your physical training, with diet, all these things, exceptional all the way around. So you have a vision and you go after that. So you get out of school, here you're in CBP, and, kind of pick up, what was your vision when you first came out of school? What was your drive and passion?
Well, first of all, thank you. I appreciate it. But I think when you talk about vision, it was very, going through school, I sort of had a vision almost created for me, because I was like, we would drive from Atlanta all the way to Boston to go see.
I remember those.
Dr. White and Dr. DeGeorge, and sitting in a van with like 16 of us in like one of those minibus vans. And it was worth it for us. So that helped me formulate a vision, yet I knew it wasn't exactly what I wanted. It didn't fit it totally, but at least helped me do that. And I'm purposely saying that because there's a lot of students still nowadays that come out of school with no experience, and they, for lack of a better term, I mean, they got to learn how to eat humble pie very quickly, because if you go out, borrow money from a bank or borrow money from your parents and basically shit the bed in the first 2 weeks, like, it's not good. It's not a good track record. Yes, failure is lessons, right? But to be able to have that vision, but then I ate my humble pie. I went and worked for someone, for students, listen to this, it was $25,000 a year. I worked as an intern at a great practice, Drs. Gabrielle and Raymond Moss, and they're in Maryland. And I didn't get paid a lot, but I went there to learn, and I had a great experience. Now, I was a pain in the ass as an employee, of course, because I'm Mr. Jersey, rip your sleeves off type guy. So, but it was a phenomenal experience. So while I worked for them, I started just working angles to create relationships in Maryland, and that's where I ended up. When I was married, that's where we decided to move and live. And my vision, the story is important because I started in the back of a gym, and I think telling the story so that we can share with our younger brothers and sisters who want to go out and open their own practice and get involved in business, you got to be able to make your mistakes and hopefully make them cheaply in the beginning, because everyone wants to open up with 5,000 square feet, every piece of traction equipment, decompression, all the posture code bells and whistles, the touch screens and all that kind of stuff. But starting small was the best thing I could have done because I focused on building relationships. And the relationships that I have now in business, they've come more than full circle because I've mentored, I've helped people, and now I get them sending me patients in droves. It took years and years and years for that to develop. But all of a sudden, one day it's like, shit, I don't have to advertise that much anymore because I'm getting all these referrals from all these relationships that I've developed through patients and then other people that I worked with. So I started my practice in the back of a gym. It was, I think it was like 100 square feet. I had an Omni table that I got from selling Omnis at school.
Selling Omnis, I remember that.
And then I had, one regainer unit, total target unit, and that's how I started. So I would work for the Mosses, and then I would go run my own practice and build my own practice by myself. And I have my scheduling book from 2002, and it's a paper book that I would write in and cross out, keep my stats, and do all that kind of stuff. So my vision is constantly changing. And so that was the original vision, was to have an office that kind of reminded me of, like what Deed's office looked like when he was in Elko. And then, a mixture of the volume and the business sense that I learned from Dr. DeGeorge and Dr. Kumbali, and like saw what they did. And then the vision just kept changing and changing and changing because I got more interested in exercise, which is what motivated me to start studying and learning about and helping kind of open the science of CVP, mirror image in motion. So the vision is changing, and you have to be open to be able to change it constantly.
Well, first of all, you've talked about that vision, but let's get into mechanics a little bit. I mean, you opened up a very successful practice. I mean, when I met you, Brian, you were already successful, and I did go to your clinic, and like everybody, fulfilling a vision goes in steps. And a lot of times you may have a big vision, but as you go along and you progress, that vision expands, obviously. And the more skill that you gain, the more you create. And so, like you said, it has been a progression, and you're passing over the fact that you're a very successful CBP practitioner, very successful spinal corrective doctor. And it expands because once you hit a milestone, and this is one thing about your spirit, is that you always seek growth. So you'll hit a milestone, but then you get the next step, and you want to progress. And so that's what it progressed into, And so when I met you, man, you were already very successful.
Thank you. It's funny.
You go to the next step.
Yeah, you were already successful.
Sorry, Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, Brian. No, I was going to say you were really successful when you were even in student clinic. You were a better adjuster, gosh, in third and fourth quarter than most people that I was graduating with. So I mean, you had that passion and that drive to do whatever it took. Early on,
I had a good spine to work on like 4 or 5 days out of the week when you were lifting a lot of weight.
Oh my gosh! Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, your drive and determination in school was no different than what you're doing now. And so you definitely were primed, and it's a lesson to students. I mean, you can learn very good early on from people in school, and take advantage of that, like Brian did. I think it's selling tables. It was great. That's business.
When we were involved with that club, it was such a good training ground. I'm so thankful that I got to learn how to I was the treasurer at one point. And we started selling more of the equipment, which now equates to selling DME and vitamins and other things in my clinic. Yet I was raising money for the CBP club. So that equated public speaking.
Yeah, that was amazing. Yep.
Huge. And I remember, it was funny. Sandy Haas is younger than us, and she's always like, "Oh my God, I used to watch you do rheology," and I was like, I was like teaching rheology, which was like, I don't even know if most people can spell that. In our crew, people can spell rheology, but yeah, the public speaking element, leadership, management, dealing with conflict, different types of personalities, because there's a lot of us, we butted heads and we weren't able to get along. So we've learned how to handle that kind of stuff. So students listening into this, use the club as your business, and you have this amazing technique and this amazing background of practitioners like us, who I feel like it was yesterday that we were there. And I want to give back all the time. I just can't get to Atlanta enough, but
yeah. You're only 27, so it was, a couple of years ago.
Exactly. Yeah, I lived a lifestyle. I'm like Brian Buttons right here. I'm going backwards. So I think, it's interesting that the passion and the drive, it has. What's interesting is that as I've gotten older, I've learned to put some of the passion. I've learned to kind of bottle it in certain ways, because sometimes you give away too much, and that's something that I've learned to, so that I can grow as a leader and as someone who can really influence people. I've had to learn to say no more often to different things. Different business opportunities are always flying my way because they're just there. But if I say yes to everything, then I'm distracted. So learning to apply the passion with wisdom. I like to just take the Morpheus stance, with my arms behind my back and watch the clinic and see what's going on, and then be able to sit back and breathe and make decisions from that perspective. Versus when I was younger, it was just like passion, like from 80 miles away and making wakes all over, until I met Fred and learned how to start to control my Jedi powers.
Nice. So, why don't you pick it up from there, man? So you're in CBP practice. You were very successful. You started moving into kind of the exercise rehab realm. So why don't you talk about that and where you are today?
So where I began by hiring and, creating relationships from an employee perspective with exercise professionals, trainers, all of the, because that's where I started my practice, and I just spent my whole life in gym. So I worked on continuing to build those relationships, and then study things like, through the NASM and stuff that we integrated into Mirror Image and Motion. But I found that from a volume perspective, and then when your practice gets bigger and you're exposed for more risk or more danger if you're in the insurance world, and still, even if you're not, you have to follow the rules of compliance. So I said, after a period of time, all right, I've got all these trainers and whatnot, but they're not licensed. They're CAs, and then I'm also missing out on different revenue from not being able to capitalize on conditions that I'm getting and referring out all the time. Because I found that dependence on physicians and, playing that game of I'll refer you one, you refer me one. So it never worked for me to do like personal injury. I have one personal injury attorney that I have a relationship with in 15 years. Because I like him and we're friends. But other than that, I'm not out there handing out ice pops to secretaries and stuff. It just never worked for me, because I want to take care of people and do the best thing for them, not what the dollars say. So I learned very quickly that I had to start hiring licensed professionals, and I wanted to capture revenue. I started thinking about business and longer term and the volume and what I could do while maintaining my philosophy. So then I eventually started integrating physical therapy first. That was the first step. And in Maryland, the state of Maryland, we're chiropractors with physical therapy privileges, meaning I can bill all the codes, but still our training and my specific training is spine rehab. That's it. I can adjust and work posture till the cows come home with it, but working on a direct knee injury or osteoarthritis in the knee or, foot and ankle injuries was not my forte. I knew extremity adjusting, but I wanted to be able to capture that revenue and serve everybody and then get them all into chiropractic, into every specialty. So I did that for a couple of years and then realized that I was missing out on part of the medical component, and I don't really do pain management. One of the biggest elements that we treat osteoarthritis in the knees in the medical department. So we use viscosupplementation, which is one of the only supplements covered by insurance companies. So that's a big component of what we do in the practice, because everyone who's got osteoarthritis in their knees has spine problems, and they need chiropractic care. They need posture work. They need spine correction. And they also need quality physical therapy to strengthen joints and surrounding joints and extremities. So that's where it got to. That's where I am now.
Right on, brother. Well, and one of the reasons that I'm excited to have you on here is there's such a great movement with people becoming medically integrated. And what I find, and I have doctors calling me all the time, and we have a number of CBP people that are medically integrated, but a lot of people do it because they don't know how to communicate. You know, insurance is getting worse. They want to play that game, and I think they get into it for the wrong reasons. So what I really would like people to pay attention to, if you guys replay this, are the reasons why Brian got in there. And the reason you did it was, number one, you want to serve people with different injuries. But like you said, the main thing was the whole send me one, I'll send you one. It's like it wasn't just about capturing the revenue. I mean, that's the bonus. What it is you can help people on a different level. Like your motivation was service with a business mind.
Correct.
Rather than sending that out to some MD or somebody that you can count on what service they would give, and would they really send them back? I mean, how many times does a patient get referred out to an MD and the MD says don't go back to the chiropractor?
Wow.
Well, you know, if you're doing it for those reasons, but I talk to people all the time, you know, we look at our boot camps. I mean, you guys know, you've been to the boot camps, man. What a powerful experience in communication.
Right on boot camp.
Yeah, to learn how to inspire people. But then people do that because, you know what? You know, I had a chiropractor tell me the other day, well, people won't do CBP, and now they're medically integrating. Well, don't do it as an excuse. I mean, I hear that all the time. You know, well, patients don't do rehab. No, what it is you didn't know how to find their inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And so don't do medical integration because it's a default for what you are unwilling to learn.
I don't think I would have been able to do any of it if I never started with the foundation and principles that helped me create a practice from a place of integrity. Meaning, like, I knew that what I was doing for people was a benefit for them, you know, and I still see that, and I can serve so many more people and so many different populations now that I feel like I've earned the right, so to speak. And I tell this to people all the time, that because you come from a solid foundation of solid care, customer, client service, and love, then you can start thinking about business. And I never thought business first, which is what you mentioned. It's like, you can't just think about the dollars first because then you end up, your foundation is very weak. And if, you know, and one caveat, if you want to play this game, you got to play it right. You know, if you want to mess with insurance, then you gotta play it totally right. Sorry, I got a little technical difficulty here.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, no worries. You know,
so as far as
compliance,
insurance, all that kind of stuff. Sorry.
Yeah, not only that, you know, I have people also that call me, they're very successful and they make a great living, but they're not fulfilled because they gave up the principle. And there's a difference between success and fulfillment. You know what I mean? So it's all good.
Yeah.
Hey,
what's interesting is that I don't know if you remembered seeing my TED Talk, which I did, which is the most amazing experience in my life to be able to do that. But it was really, you know, when I talk about it, and I want to do it again and just sharpen it up. But because I started my career with zeros and ones, right? It's like I can angle anybody and look in any posture and make corrections and teach you how to do it. But I put aside the fact that people are emotional, spiritual beings inside of this architectural beauty that we work on all day long. So I left that part out, and now I've transcended to a place where that stuff's easy, like working on people and spines, and I've hired a great team around me to do that so that I can focus on my best skill, which is connection, which is inspiration and connection and making a difference just by talking to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's awesome. You know, this is our first, I need to interrupt and change the topic to a technical issue. I'm getting a sign on this video thing. We got eight minutes left for meeting me. I didn't know there was a time thing. So
let's wrap it up, baby.
Because it's making us off right when we're getting all fired up about something.
I thought I was the only one that was seeing it, so I was getting worried.
Nope.
Yeah. So anyway, hey, real quick, you got like 3 minutes. So what's your vision for the future, man? I know you're going a direction with this. What's your vision from today forward?
Well, there's a couple of things I'm looking to add. You know, I'm right now, our clinic, it's a chiropractic, physical therapy, and medical clinic. It's about 5,000 square feet. So from a business model, that's, you know, it's heavy overhead because, you know, and with compliance and things like that, with the medical industry, we actually have one satellite office open in Columbia, Maryland, and we're working on another satellite office. So we'll be in 3 counties by January, 3 counties in Maryland. And my goal is to open up smaller satellites with less overhead, be able to manage those, and then be able to feed into the PT and Chiro elements and continue with that. I have a couple other outside business ventures, within the healthcare realm. And, if I can land a TV show, I'll rock on that as well with you guys.
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
Yeah, you're always on TV there. So.
Hang out with you, man.
So that's kind of like my I traded a high processed or processed sugar for TV appearances because it's a major rush, awesome experience, great opportunity, and I kind of jump on all that. But when I was starting practice, I can't tell you how many companies, how many people, how many lectures I've given, hundreds of lectures on healthcare, chiropractic, and it's just I keep sharpening the axe all the time. And
sorry to cut you off. That's the key, man. You are where you are because you did the work. People may look at you on TV or do whatever, and then you think, wow, man, this guy's an overnight success. No, you're not. It took years. It took a decade, man. It took, like you said, 100 or 500 talks. How do you end up on a TV show? Because you gave 500 talks before you got there.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got to do the work, and there's no replacement.
And also, just as a tidbit from those students, again, marketing, when you feel like you want to step out of the car at a red light and give your card to someone because their head is touching their steering wheel, just pick up your sack and do it, man. Sorry, girls, but just do it. I mean, it's like, because there's your feet are made, your shoes got rubber on the bottom, so wear them thin, because that's one thing. Do not sit in your office. Fight the fear because it's only up here. That's it.
Yep.
It only exists there. There's nothing dangerous. And the more no's you get, the more yeses you're going to get. So that's for you mathematicians out there, all you CBPers, that's statistics right there,
Yeah, it is.
Don taught us statistics well. So the more no's you get, the closer you get to a yes. So keep getting no's so that the yes start flowing at you.
Nice.
You have to be an animal with marketing. There is no secret. There really is no secret to marketing. It's all and building your business. It's all about relationships and connections.
Absolutely.
So connect with every opportunity.
Cool, man. And there's some real world great advice. So, hey, Joe, we've cut you off the whole time. You got a few
I was just going to say, I got nothing. I'm just real proud of Brian because, we started off together. I just saw him blossom, and nothing gives me like such goosebumps, so to speak, but see all those TV clips of Brian, on the news as a specialist. I think it's awesome, Brian. Great work.
Thank you. Thank you. It's like my big brother. I think in Yiddish they call it like naches. I don't know. My parents will correct me on that one. But, dude, I'm so proud of you to see where you've come from. I can remember with just the basic computer stuff that you started like in your apartment, and how this blossomed, this major technology company, and all the things you're doing is unbelievable. And Fred, for those of you who are considering elite coaching, don't even consider, just go. Throw the money down because it'll pay yourself back. And it's not about – the tactics are easy, especially when you talk to Fred, because he's got the real-life experience and other people can share that. But it's all about understanding yourself so you can connect with people and you can understand where their hang-ups are and how to deal with objections and without persuading, but having them be inspired to make their own decision.
Yeah, Fred's stuff applies to real life. So it's I'm not treating patients except for a few in the house. I have tables and a laser and all sorts of stuff in my house now that I have my house back. But I tell you what, everything that Fred teaches applies to real life because it's relationships with real people all the time.
Yeah, right. I appreciate that.
Yep.
So, okay, well, I guess we only got a few minutes left. Any final words, Joe?
Well, I just hope everybody's going to come out to the Elite Boot Camp in Park City. When do you guys have that? You have that coming up on what, December 11th?
11th to the 12th. Yeah, we got a personal commitment with that one. That for you go to those boot camps, personal commitment, you'll grow 30 to 50% in the first 3 months of 2016.
Okay. Well, hey, don't say the hotel yet because I didn't book my spot yet.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll have to check the Facebook page afterwards. I have to get my hotel room first.
Is that Hotel Park City? Is that where you're going?
You let it out. You let it out.
City, man. Be there.
Yep.
That's a must just for the place to go. The hot tubs and the skiing is incredible. So
Yeah, right on. Well,
I definitely showed up to boot camp with sunburn.
Yeah, there you go. Any final words, Brian?
I guess for students out there, put the work in now. School is your testing ground. So don't spend your time going out. If you got to work, take your job, but put the extra hours in. Join the CBP club. Take all of the seminars now. Figure out a way to use your money to get the educational foundation and the technical competence before you get into practice, because business is hard and business runs at light speed. So you need the time to be able to focus on building relationships and running a business, building a culture. That stuff needs to be on the foundation. So get your studies done now.
Don't graduate and be an amateur. You need to graduate and already be a professional.
Exactly. And always be willing to eat your humble pie. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, peace, you guys. Thanks for being here. And love you both.
Talk to you guys later, man. Love you both.
All right.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Take care.